Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing The Sea of Monsters by Riordan, the second book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. So 2 weeks ago I reviewed The Lightning Thief by Riordan, which is the first book in the series, and now I'm reviewing the second book because that's the way it goes. But anyways, so first off, before I start with the review, let me just give a few quick announcements. So first of all, I will not be putting out a video 2 weeks from now because I'm going on vacation, and as much as I enjoy doing my YouTube channel, I would like to take a vacation from everything. It's just been a super crazy month for me. I've just finished volunteering at one camp and I'm attending another camp this week, and then I'm running another camp next week. So there's that, and I would really like to take is that out of the way, no video the last week of July. So let's get started with the review of The Sea of Monsters. So first off, with the summary, again, non-spoiler. The Sea of Monsters begins with Percy Jackson in yet another school, this time with his friend, or well, his friend is like an outcast in the school pretty much, and his name is Tyson. And anyways, the book opens with Percy and Tyson currently being beat in a game of dodgeball by these huge 7th graders, and anyway, turns out that they're actually these giants with actually I don't think I can pronounce the first part of their name. Laistrygonians, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Or Laistrygonians. Laistrygonians. Laistrygonians, I think. Those things are attacking Percy and Tyson, and anyways, they escape somehow, and Annabelle comes in and rescues them. But basically she's there with a more dire mission, and that Camp Half-Blood is actually endangered. The tree that protects the borders of Camp Half-Blood has been poisoned and is slowly dying. And because of that, the magic that the tree provides that protects the camp from any monsters coming in is now fading. So that means the camp is super vulnerable to attack from all these mythical monsters in it. So yeah, it's kind of a big problem. So the only way to save the tree is to find this thing called the Golden Fleece, and they convince the new counselor guy, Tantalus. I'm sure that's his name, Tantalus. So anyways, and this guy, Tantalus, sends Clarice, of all people, on a quest to go and retrieve the Golden Fleece. But after speaking to the god Hermes, Percy decides that he needs to go too and rescue his friend Grover, who is apparently in a lot of trouble. So they all leave on a super dangerous quest. As per usual, is fraught with danger and crazy monsters and people that they meet along the way. They also take Tyson with them, and turns out that Tyson is actually not who Percy thinks he is. He's not a regular old kid, but anyways, for the sake of being non-spoilery, I'm just gonna keep it at that. So yeah, to wrap up with the usual cliffhanger question that I like, it's just basically, will Percy, Annabelle, and Tyson survive their quest and be able to rescue Grover? Or will they be too late, and will Grover end up unfortunately perishing? I'll have to find out. So yeah, okay, that was my non-spoiler summary. Now let's move on to the spoiler summary, where I'm just gonna spill. People who don't want any spoilers, you know the drill. Head to the description, click the timestamp, and it'll take you to the non-spoiler rest of the non-spoiler section. So okay, anyways, on with the spoilers. So first off, with Tyson's secret identity, he's actually a Cyclops, which, you know, one of these monsters that have, like, you know, one eye in the middle of their head. And it also turns out that Tyson is actually Percy's half-brother. So apparently Cyclops are the children of one god and a nature spirit, in this case a nymph. As Percy described it in the book, his dad had gotten moony-eyed for some nature spirit, and Tyson was the result. So yeah, Tyson is Percy's half-brother, so now he has to live with Percy in his cabin, and they're all, and like Percy's like an outcast, or the laughing stock from all the other kids, because he is Tyson for half-brother. Move on, so they're on their quest, and they board Percy, Annabelle, and Tyson board the ship called the Princess Andromeda, and actually it turns out that this ship is captained by, spoiler for the Lightning Thief by the way, this ship is captained by Luke Castellan, which, as you know, is the infamous guy that betrayed everybody in the Lightning Thief. So it turns out that Luke is now working for Kronos, the Titan. Since Luke is serving Kronos, it actually turns out that since Kronos is apparently blasted into a million tiny pieces at the bottom of Tartarus, he's actually being resurrected, so all his pieces are coming back together, and that's not good because Kronos is like the most powerful Titan and the dad of the big three gods, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. So yeah, bad news. Also, Percy and Annabelle managed to get found out by Luke, and then they escape using a magical thermos of wind that Hermes gave Percy, and now they're in the middle of the wilderness. And after they get a run-in with a Hydra in a monster donut shop, they are rescued by Clarice on her ship. And then basically the ship explodes and Clarice and Tyson are apparently lost in the wreckage because they aren't seen again after the blast happens, and Percy and Annabelle escape. So anyways, they manage to get to the island where the Cyclops who is holding Grover hostage is at, because apparently the Cyclops Polyphemus thinks that Grover is a female Cyclops, so he apparently wants to marry, and he's keeping Grover hostage. But Percy and Annabelle get there, and they find that Clarice is fighting Polyphemus. She's trying to get the golden fleece, which Polyphemus has, but in the process she accidentally spills the fact that Grover is not a female Cyclops and he's a satyr instead. And of course Polyphemus is enraged and decides that he will marry Clarice and eat Grover for dinner. So Percy and Annabelle have to do something, but they decide that they have to get inside the cave because like Polyphemus left and locked Clarice and Grover inside his cave, so they have to get inside somehow. And so anyways, Percy manages to sneak inside the cave when Polyphemus has to let a sheep in. Percy hangs onto the bottom of the sheep and the sheep walks right in. And then Annabelle causes a distraction, and so anyways they manage to defeat Polyphemus, and Tyson helps actually because apparently Tyson is alive and he helps defeat Polyphemus. So anyways, they manage to snatch the fleece and escape Polyphemus and his island on the back of the hippocampi. So then they don't have enough money to just have all of them go back to Camp Half-Blood, so they send Clarissa the fleece alone on the plane and she goes. But then, as soon as Clarissa leaves, they get apprehended by Luke and his henchmen, or hench giants. And so anyways, when they get captured by Luke, Percy manages to send an iris message to camp and gets Luke to confess everything bad that he did. And everybody at camp heard it. But then, of course, Luke wants to kill Percy, but then just before he does, Chiron and Tyson come and rescue Percy. And Chiron has help from the party ponies is what they're called. So anyways, they put the fleece on the tree, but the magic of the fleece works a bit too well, and it seems like the legend of the tree was that Zeus's daughter Thalia was like dying on that hill, but then he turned her into a tree to kind of preserve her, give her a monument. But then when the fleece heals the tree, it purges the poison and it also purges Thalia, so she comes out and she's alive actually. And this is basically a big twist in the big prophecy that everybody's been going on about, because apparently that prophecy says that a child of one of the big three will have like the power to save the world or destroy, something like that. Basically it's a huge prophecy, and now Thalia is here and she's the daughter of Zeus, so anything could happen now basically. So yeah, that's the end. So well, welcome back, non-spoiler people. We just switched them to the worldview, so let's go straight in. So, as I've said before in my previous review of The Lightning Thief, Riordan is not a Christian author. Of course, these books are a spin-off of Greek mythology, so they have a lot of pagan Greek elements in them, along with like Greek gods, etc. I'll note all these mythical monsters and gods that appear from Greek mythology in these books. Really, the worldview is that you need to obey the gods, and if you don't, then something bad happens to you. That's basically the worldview here. Now moving on to foul language. So there was one D word on page 146, but other than that I did not find any other bad words here, like minor rudeness or whatever, but that was the only bad word in this book. So yeah, moving on to violence. A whole lot of violence. I mean, there's a whole lot of violence, definitely like a lot of action sequences, like classic sword fighting, whatever. There's also, but yeah, nothing overtly bloody or gory. Moving on to romance. So there's nothing explicitly inappropriate here in terms of romance. Of course, this is based on the premises that a demigod is a kid of a god and a human, so obviously that would have to happen. There's also a character who is a kid of a god and a nymph, so yeah, but there were no scenes of that, so I don't know. This is awkward to me too, guys. But yeah, basically just there's nothing inappropriate here in terms of romance. So again, there were some scenes for alcohol, there were some scenes with Dionysus, the god of wine. Nobody like got drunk or anything, so there's that. Okay, so I think that's the end of the morals. So let's go on to my rating recommended age level. So I'm gonna rate this 4 stars, just story-wise. Like, I enjoyed the plot, I enjoyed the characters, I actually relate a lot to Annabelle, and I enjoyed the book overall. Like, again, when I read Percy Jackson, I always learn a lot about Greek mythology and etc. Because it's cool to see how, like, the way that Riordan takes the actual Greek mythology and then turns it into, like, a fun and engaging way to learn about it. So, yeah, so that was my personal point of view from, like, just a reader's standpoint. If we're talking about it from, like, book reviewer that I have to be, then I'll definitely advise caution, especially for younger kids. And again, that's why, because I feel like you need to have a strong, grounded Christian worldview before you can, like, read all this other pagan influence stuff. Otherwise, you know, it can just, like, seep into your brain, and then, like, you're just constantly thinking about that instead of what you should be thinking about. So again, that's my personal rant / point of view on that. I'm gonna put the age rating at 11 to 12, like, reading comprehension level, but again, as for, like, spiritual maturity level, I'm gonna say, like, 13 plus. Again, because of my whole little rant that I just mentioned. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review of The Sea of Monsters that brings this video to a close. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to be reviewing The Titan's Curse next week, and then taking a break the week after that, remember. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!